all the time when Nick and I call each other's performances piss poor. But he's like, come on, guys. Are you buying what Aaron Rodgers had to say, Chris?
No, this is the way NFL locker room. He's the top guy. He should set the tempo on a daily basis. And if he can't say his personal feelings, like, man, these kids, they're in the wrong business, because this is what happens in the NFL. This is the way you want your quarterback. This is what's going on in New England. Tom Brady been doing that for years. It's been happening for Dan Marino. He was legendary. Dan Marino point at you. Hey, man, you, man, I need you to run the right route. And people criticize Dan Marino for that.
Cece says he would point at him. That's during the game, after an incompletion. There would be no, it was a miscommunication. It would be very clear. Dan Marino at the time, already one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, pointing at whomever, whether it was Duper or an undrafted free agent. You screwed up. I'm going to let the whole world know you screwed up.
And as a player or a professional athlete, you can't have thick skin like that. If Aaron Rodgers says, as I'm a wide receiver, that lackluster, I'm going to make sure he wasn't talking about me. I'm going to make sure that my tempo matches the best player in the organization. And these guys, man, are working day to day. Man, we can't afford to have no bad day as no backup wide receiver. Like, that's crazy. Like, they can bring somebody in and take your job at the end of the day. So, Aaron Rodgers, yes, he's going to get criticized no matter what. But the crime would have been if he had saw that type of behavior and not said anything. Because Aaron is about trying to win and trying to win a championship. And Aaron right now also, because they got rid of his coaches, he's taking more responsibility. I'm trying to win right now, because if we don't win, you know who they're going to blame? They're not going to blame those guys who have some other job outside of pro football. They're going to blame that guy right there, number 12.
He got rid of his coaches and probably got rid of the guy that I would
his best friend.
And the leader in the wide receiver room.
Yes.
I bet Jordy was the guy who last year, if the wide receivers were having a bad day, Jordy would be the first one to speak up.
They asked Jordy to take a pay cut.
Yeah. Right. And so, like, that guy's gone as well. So go ahead, Jenna.
So we're talking about this from Aaron Rodgers' perspective. Talk about it from the receiver's perspective. If you're a young receiver and you hear your quarterback call you out, how do you respond to something like that, Steve?
Yeah, I don't care nothing about your perspective. Like, we set the tempo around here. We the one that built the program. Yes, I've done that to many wide receivers. They know. My ex-teammates, they know. I'll call them out in a minute. I don't care nothing about their feelings. Man, we got a job to do. There is a certain amount of effort that it takes to do this job. Everyone in the league has the same amount of time. You cannot waste time on the practice field. That is where you work on your craft. That is where you should put high expectations. You know the reason why? Because they're not going to get in the game. Aaron understands that. You got 12 wide receivers. You got 4 preseason games. You're trying to develop 5 or 6 of these guys and get your top flight guys ready for the season? No, you don't have time for that. That is their game. Aaron is right in what he's doing.
And there was one quote specifically there that I knew C would touch on that would strike him, which was, this is a professional, not a personal environment. It is different when you're hanging out with your friends. We are at work. And one of my favorite Chris Carter stories is being with you. We'd only known each other maybe 3 to 6 months at this point in time. Super Bowl a couple years ago in Houston, where I had lived before. And we're walking around, and everybody knows Chris. And I said to him, I was like, any of your former teammates here? And Chris was like, yeah. I'm a lot more popular with some other guys, though, than I am my teammates. And it was because of things like this. Like, those guys, I think, almost all of them had respect for you, but weren't always buddy-buddy because of the tough conversations. Like, you were a lot more friendly with some of the other gold jacket guys and some of the guys that you competed against than necessarily. I know you had great friends on Vikings, Jake Reed and others, but, right, that's a fair point, that you had to conduct yourself in a way that maybe was going to ruffle some feathers.
And Denny Green empowered me when he could see that I was saying the types of things that because what it did was it made Denny's voice louder.
Sure.
And then some other guys on the team at their positions, they realized that Denny was trying to develop leaders, and Denny empowered us to be able to do things like that. So not only did it help me, but how it helped the other leaders on the team, because we had the backing of the coach.
All right, moving on. Boy, things are getting hot in Cleveland. Here's a story for you. See, as the team gets ready for their second preseason game against the Bills, Baker